In this video, we're going to be covering what to do when your senses are trying to rob you from the state that you want to be dwelling in or returning to. What to do when obviously you're having reactions to your 3D, especially those of you that are dealing with the 3D. This video is going to be perfect for you because I'm going to remind you guys of some stuff. And the stuff that I'm going to remind you of is things that even I'm guilty of forgetting from time to time. So this video is just inspired. It's not anything I scripted. I don't even have bullet points or anything to guide this video. And that's how raw it's going to be. So I don't know what I'm going to say in it. I just know that it's going to be what you need to hear. So if you found this video today or whenever you're watching it, you're supposed to be watching this. That's all I know. Okay. So moving forward, as you already know, I'm Michael from embodiedestate.com. And all I ask from you guys always is just if you get anything of value from this video, just hit that like button. That's it. Hit the same way that, by doing that, the same way that it reaches you, it reaches other people as well. Like it can benefit as well. That's all I want from you guys. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the video. So let's start off with the 3D. That's the first thing I'm kind of, my intuition, my higher self's kind of guiding me, towards. So the 3D is so interesting, right? And this, even I myself am guilty of doing this sometimes, right? And this is what I love about being human and the human experience. We so often make the mistake of not realizing or remembering, I should say, what the 3D and the relationship it has to us is. Like we forget it all the time. And let's dive into that. So the first things first, right? Let's say this goes for anyone manifesting money, a certain outcome regarding whatever, it doesn't matter, or an SP, whether it's an ex, someone new, or someone you never met, whatever it may be. You have to really understand, like when it comes to the 3D and whatever they do, or the lack of whatever the employer does, or if you want to raise, it doesn't really matter. And when you realize that it doesn't really matter what the person does because, and this is where the framework begins, right? Because you understand your physical reality is literally just a reflection of who you were being, right? And what I mean by that might contradict what some people say that you've heard, right? And what I mean by that is, think about it. Everybody right now in this moment, get into the wish fulfilled, right? You can even pause the video right now and get into the wish fulfilled. I'll even do it myself and you'll watch me do it in real time. So I'll think about the thing that I crave the most in my heart. And I'm not going to do it yet. You're going to see me look away from the camera, and that's when I'll be doing my process. And you'll see a reaction if there is one, right? Physically. And I'll show you, and then you'll get to my point. So just watch. And just like that, I started smiling a little bit, right? It was so fat. You might have to go back and like rewind it because the smirk is so little. But it felt to me like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, I had this little smirk hit my face before I turned my face towards the camera. And that's usually how fast it is, right? It's like you saw me look away. I think of the thing that I want most. I don't have to close my eyes and make it vivid, right? I'm still thinking about it. And now I'm going to the moment that my heart wants me to go to. And when I think about being in that moment, it just makes me smile. Like I'm in a state of relief. It's like, like it's just this weight off you. And when you do that, think about it. It's not here. The manifestation is not here. I literally, for that 1 second, 2 seconds, I was that person. Literally, my beliefs were aligned with being that person that could experience that because I entered the wish fulfilled, but it's not here. So that's my whole point. There's a delay. I don't care what anyone says. There is a time delay, right? Yes, it's instant on the inside, but on the physical world, it's not. And many authors, talk about this for a good reason. So with that being said, remember, first things first, we make the mistake of forgetting that we're the ones that give the direction to the 3D. Like you're literally in a play. Imagine that God decided to make a play, to put on a play, and he wanted to put himself in it, but he didn't want to know that he was in it. And he didn't want to know that everyone else playing their parts is him. So what he did was he kind of, you can call it go to sleep, or he took a nap. And in this dream, that's where we are. We're in the dream, right? But he weakened himself in doing that. He imagined himself to be human and therefore created it. And therefore, now we're having the human experience and they get to experience it through us. So when you understand that we are connected, we're all one, we are everything. Like you and me, if you're watching this, you are no more or less powerful than I am. And you are no more or less valuable than I am. And because we're all the same source, we come from the same place, we are one. So when you understand this and you recognize, okay, this is who I come from, and everything that I'm doing is my own creation. It's my own doing. I'm in a play and I'm playing all the roles. That means the SP is playing your role. That means the lack of money you have, that's the role that you chose to play, right? The employer that's mean to you, That's the role that you gave them to play, and you're playing the role of the person that gets treated bad, right? And regarding whatever circumstance. So when you understand, wait a second, okay, the 3D is treating me badly. I'm losing contact with this, or SP did this, or they didn't do that, or we broke up, or money issues here, or how's the money going to come in? And I don't have this thing required to make certain amounts of money. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Your job, and it's talked about in scripture, it's talked about in, Neville's work, Jane Roberts, it doesn't matter. You can find it throughout all great material, but the middle doesn't matter. It's not our job to focus on the middle. It's the end wills the mean, as Neville says, right? So if we know that the end wills the means, then what's the point of not only remembering, like, knowing that the 3D is the thing that's just showing who we are. It's who we were. And that's the thing that catches everyone off guard. We always forget in the moment where things seem so real and so scary, that the 3D is our creation. It's just showing us who we were being and who we are dominantly. And we understand that we can consciously change who we are dominantly, which therefore means we don't have to be afraid of the physical reality and the results we have. So knowing this, it's so silly to know that and then be like, okay, the SP didn't do this, or there's no movement after 3 days of, let's say, mental dieting or whatever. Right then and there, you're choosing once more to truly lose your trust and you're taking away power from the beliefs that you had faith in and everything. And now you're giving them to fear. And now you're putting them elsewhere. That's now going to extend the duration of you getting a movement. You had no evidence that 3 hours from then you would have not got a phone call or something, right? Regarding whatever goal you had. And trust me, I've had that so many times. I've had so many times where I wake up and the thing that I want is like, I don't expect it to come that day. But lo and behold, like 1 hour into the day, something happens, something pops up, there's movement of some form. And just like that, it's like, it's such a beautiful reminder when that happens in my life, because it always tells me that you never know when the next minute is going to be the minute that changes your life. So that's the whole point of like this whole 3D thing. Like, you have to really understand your physical world takes its orders from you and not the other way around. You're acting and you're all playing a play, and you're all playing roles in a play that you created. You are the director, the scriptwriter, you're everything. And instead you forgot that you did everything, and you forgot that your SP is acting out the role that you gave them. You forgot that your employer or the lack of money you have, you're playing the role that you wrote yourself if you're struggling with money or whatever else it may be, right? So when you understand these things and you start looking at it logically, and I love logic and law of assumption combined. To me, untouchable when you look at things logically, because the logic, understanding the law intellectually, even though if you might not be believing in it fully, the logic will always carry over to leading you and your heart to where it needs to get to. So that's when you start putting things together and you're like, wait a minute, yeah, the SP doing whatever, it doesn't matter. I understand. It's just it's like a hiccup. It's like an echo, right? Think about it. If I go, I tell clients when we have our calls, especially like our first ever call, I sometimes use the example where it's like, what if imagine I'm in a cave and I just yell hello, and let's say 9 seconds later, I hear hello back. Okay, it's very similar. Now let me put it into perspective with manifestation. So now imagine, I told you it took 9 seconds to hear my voice back for the echo, right? So in reality, let's just assume the seconds is a day 1, day 2, day 3, nothing, day 4, 5, 6, 7. And then let's say day 8, I start giving up, right? Day 8, I'm like, no movement, or the thing's getting further away, right? It's not looking good. I had no idea that on day 9, the echo would have happened. In other words, the reflection, would have happened. And if I knew that, in that moment, where I gave up in that moment on day 8, I then would have looked at that doubt of, oh, you should give up and then nothing's working and blah, blah, blah. I would have looked at that from the eyes of, I know this is temporary because I know I'm getting what I want, because what I'm doing on the inside is going to get reflected and it's just going to take another day maybe. And that's how I look at things, right? So that's what I want you guys to take from this video as well. It's understanding. It's like logic. Don't be afraid of logic. Understand it. The thing you're looking at, the thing that you're holding in your hand, or the person that's sending messages that bother you, or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Insert your circumstances here. It doesn't matter. Put your bad belief here. And then just understand that thing that you're experiencing, it doesn't matter because it's not permanent. Your physical experience is showing you what you were doing dominantly. So if you dwell in fear, like let's say 28 out of 30 days, and you're 8 hours a day in fear, right? Or like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day in fear, right? And maybe you have little pockets of fulfillment. What do you think's gonna, weigh heavier on the scale? So obviously, you're going to experience something maybe not so good, right? But the good news is you can start chipping away at that. You can start chipping away at those bad habits. And that's where I want you guys to begin that starting now with this video. I want you every single time you start getting your fears, you start getting your doubts, right? The things that 3D bother you, right? They're being mean to you. They're being whatever, not loving. Money's not coming in. You're not making sales in your business. Whatever it may be, doesn't matter. I don't need to hear it, because at the end of the day, the answer is still the same, right? That's why I tell clients, I'm like, look, I don't need every single detail from when you're born to like now to tell you what's wrong with you. Show me your results and I can tell you what you're thinking. I can tell where you've been in your head. And I think that's why I love the law, because you can't lie when you know the law, right? Like you can't lie to yourself. So moving forward, start evaluating things when the fears hit you and you start catching yourself and you realize, oh no, I have anxiety. I have that knot in my stomach. That means I'm aligned with fears. Okay, there's some reminders I want you to have too. And some of the reminders I want you to take away is, number one, this fear is something that I can actually use. And I love when I feel anxiety because it's like a built-in alarm. It's like a built-in cheat code. Think about it. You can only feel this fear and this negativity or whatever you want to call it if it's not aligned with what you want to be and who you want to be. In other words, the result you want. So if you understand this, then doesn't it make sense that you should be celebrating when you have that anxiety? I know it sounds contradictory because trust me, even I myself, there's moments where it's like I feel bad and there's moments where I react, like really react, right? And sometimes my body has like just reactions that I can't control. And that's the thing with like when I'm hurt and stuff, right? Like regarding, crying, like shedding a tear and stuff like that, getting emotional, watery eyes, all that stuff. I can't control it as much as I want to, right? And in those moments, of course, I don't expect to, control that and stop that, right? I always let it out. But there's moments where it's like before you get there and you're aware and you're like, oh, I don't like this. That's the moments where you can kind of start catching that and then recognize, okay, the physical world takes its cue from me. It's not the other way around. The world does not shape my reality. Beliefs do. Okay, who's in control of beliefs? Me. Who chooses what belief I believe in? Me. How do I do that? I start embodying the beliefs. In other words, the state. So what belief do you want to feel? I want to feel, let's say, loved. Okay. So what if I was loved? More importantly, let's say it's someone specific. Okay, what if they were already with me? And think of that moment where your brain goes there, right? And it's like, even for me, like when I just looked up, I thought of, one of my desires too. Because I'm always planting seeds. My brain is always thinking of things that I want to plant. So every time I like look up, oftentimes it just means I literally just fulfilled myself because like I have a little snapshot that pops up. But the beautiful part is like you go where your heart takes you. And all you do is you start feeling the reality of that, right? And that's all it is. It's you're accepting that belief and then the feelings come afterwards, right? It's not necessary, but for me, the emotions come afterwards. And that's why I love it, because I realize, hey, I don't have to be afraid. Yes, the 3D is scary. Yes, bad things can happen. Yes, creation is finished for the good and the bad. But it doesn't mean that I have to always experience the bad. Because if creation is finished for both good and bad, and I understand that my 3D takes its cue from me. I don't take the orders from it, but I act like I do. Like I'm speaking about like from your perspective, because a lot of us, including me actually, so I'll include myself. There's so many times in the past where I've made that mistake. And even sometimes recently, I still sometimes fall into those traps, right? And thankfully I'm able to crawl out of those things, like 99% of the time, right? And then the 1% of the time, I'm kind of like I'm sitting with a feeling that I don't understand yet. Yeah, I'll reach out to there's really only like one person I can go to in the world that I know of that I can like reach out for like an opinion. So that's the person I go to, and they just give me their opinion on what I describe to them, and then I take what I need from them, and then we put it together, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense, and then I feel better. So there's so many ways to like soothe yourself, and in my opinion, I do it through logic, and that's why I love it. In my opinion, it's easiest, and that's why I love like looking at things logically. Think about it. If you understand the world can only reflect who you are. So let's say you're seeing a result in front of you. And obviously 95% of my clients are SP people. So I'll use SP. But same thing, insert your problem here instead if it's for something else. SP is being cold, and let's say, or you go no contact, and right then and there, you're heartbroken, and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. I don't want to, I don't want to do this. I just want to be out of here. I want to manifest the result ASAP. Okay, that means you should be disciplined ASAP. That means you should be understanding that you should be living by the law, like nonstop. It doesn't mean by force. It's just making the right decisions. And that's just simply gently remembering what it feels like to be that person. And when you understand creation is finished and those people, like those versions of those people all exist, and the 3D is showing you the bad, you can still choose to understand creation is finished. So even though I'm seeing the bad, it's not permanent. I can experience the good. So let's go to the good that I want. So start feeling loved, right? Start feeling like they're texting you again. Start feeling what it would feel like if you were actually in the reality where you had the desire. Genuinely, and especially in the moment. I like to go to specific moments, right? Especially with like SP stuff, it's always specific moments. And if it's with money stuff, it's just spending it, or what I would be doing with it, or what car would I be seeing in, or whatever. There's so many fun ways to do it. It's up to you guys to implement these basic concepts, right? Creation is finished, and that the 3D is just a mirror, genuinely. Think about it. It's like when you are, and this is something that I'll put the quote up actually, and I'm gonna just paraphrase it, but I'll put the actual quote. It's from Seth. And actually, you know what? I'll save that for another video, but I'll tell you the idea anyways. The beautiful part is whatever you're looking at, and this is relating to the quote anyways, but I'm just gonna kind of put in my own words. When you see something in your physical reality that bothers you and it hurts you or does whatever, you have to understand that your reaction, like that thing was already, like your reaction in that moment did not cause that thing, was already caused by a very similar reaction in the past. So therefore, to do that, and that's why Neville himself, and this is where Seth and Neville agree a lot, says to think unlovingly of the past is to reinfect yourself. So a lot of people logically might think, okay, I go in my memories and then I feel bad. Yes, that's part of it. But there's another way to look at it too. Let's add to that. So if creation is finished, which means everything's existing here all at once and time is not linear. And the moment we think of something, we're in the present moment, and then a second later, it's the past. So when you think of something, you're technically remembering. So you're in the past as well. So technically, when you look at stuff, your 3D is the past, because your physical reality is not showing who you are now. Because if that was the case, every nanosecond, your reality would be changing in front of you, right? Your couches, your animals' behaviors, your SP's behaviors, it'd be crazy. And thank God it's not like that, right? So when you understand these things, you realize, holy crap, I can put this all together and I don't have to be afraid anymore. I can start seeing why I don't have to worry about the behaviors I'm seeing, because that thing was created by a reaction I had in the past. And now is my chance to not reinfect myself unlovingly, right? To think unlovingly of it. So I can see my 3D, my physical reality, which I view as the past. So I'm looking at my past physically, and then I understand I created it. And for me to sit here knowing that I'm God and I chose to come here, and I chose to limit myself and put myself in these garments, right? And I chose to forget that I was the creator. I chose to forget that I put myself in this beautiful play of life, and I chose to forget that everything here is in my full control, right? And oftentimes that's the only way we can ever feel afraid, is if we don't believe that we're in control in that moment. And sometimes there's conditioning from environmental factors and growing up that play a role to might make it harder. I'm not going to say it is, but it might for some people, or they feel that way. But regardless, it's not impossible to change these things, and then some people just might need more time than others, and that's okay. Just understand that creation is finished. And like that's why I'm so redundant with that concept of creation is finished, by the way, because it's probably one of the most important, because you should be able to look at your physical past, the 3D, and understand it's the old me. But yesterday and all day today, I've been doing so damn good, and I've been returned to the wish fulfilled, and I've been returned to the beliefs that I want to experience. So right then and there, you understand, okay, then I don't have to be afraid, because I know that my physical reality is just the past. It's the old me. So who I'm being now and today is the new me, and who I am tomorrow in that present moment, is the new me as well. So the new me's become the old me, which gets reflected to the past. Think of it like that. I know that a lot of people are going to say it doesn't work like that, but genuinely, like it's much easier to look at it with some certain differences. And with my logic, that's kind of how I view it in a sense, because I know the physical reality is not instant. I know that the moment I felt that wish fulfilled with the goal that I just thought about on camera earlier, it didn't appear here. Right? And that's because there is, on purpose, a 3D time delay. Seth has talked about this in his work, in his literature. Explains that the framework of the reality and creation and how the universe operates, especially on this, plane, in this training ground, right, is that the time delay is there to benefit us. It's there to save us from ourselves. Because if the time delay wasn't there, you would all most likely have been dead by now. How many times have you guys thought about hurting yourselves or getting hurt, or what would it feel like to be shot or something, right? Oh, I wonder, does it burn? Yeah, you would have been shot in that moment, the moment you thought about it. So that's why I don't say manifestation is instant in the physical sense. In the internal, yes. But I play with that, understand that. So if Seth is saying this, and I trust Seth over any YouTuber or even myself or whatever, I just stick to the greats, to the ancients. I don't believe anyone alive knows more than these people. And if I believe someone knew better than them, I would be studying them. So until then, I study these people. And they all agree on certain concepts. And that's a pattern as well that I also find faith in. So when you know that the 3D has a little bit of a time delay, and you can now accept that and be like, oh, wait a minute. So I don't have to feel bad if it's bad, because it doesn't mean I'm a bad person now. No. You can understand, yeah, wait a second. Yes, it's scary now, but I don't have to be afraid, because I can choose to be still and know that I am, right? And you know that you're God. You know that I came here. I put on this play. The people treating me bad, or the lack of whatever, the distance from SP, the coldness, them showing that they don't want to be with you, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter, because they don't tell you who you are, right? If I'm manifesting someone and they're telling me, I don't love you, I never want to see you again, we're never going to be together again, I'm sorry, and whatever else. And let's throw in even more insult to injury. Let's say they know the law, and let's say they just tell you it's not real. I don't believe you're going to do it. How can you do it if I don't want to be with you? Let's say they go that hard on you, right? In that moment, if you know how to kind of observe that and experience that, I know it's going to be very hard in that moment, but there's ways you can practice. So when that moment comes, if it does, you're good. And that's why I tell you guys, practice little at a time, right? Every time you're thinking of something that doesn't benefit you, right? Or you're feeling something, that's a moment for you to kind of practice, get experience, right? So let's say that SP said all that stuff to me. In my head, honestly, what I know I'm supposed to be doing, and I say that because I might react first for whatever, a minute or 2 minute, whatever. But after the reaction, what I should be doing is understanding, okay, my 3D doesn't tell me who I often understand that people make the mistake of letting that happen because they're forgetting who they are. They're forgetting their God. And when you forget your God, of course you then feel like it's happening to you. But no, wait a second. This is a mirror. She is saying this because that's a mirror saying it to me. So she was just reflecting my reactions and states from the past. So I can understand I've been in bad places, and she's just catching up and reflecting that in this moment. But this moment is not the present moment, right? This 3D reality is the past. So how have I been doing yesterday? Yesterday I did pretty good. How have I been doing today? Pretty damn good. I mental dieted well. When I felt negative things, or I thought negative things, I observed and I understood why I felt them. And then I viewed life from the perspective of understanding who I am, which is I talk about in my other videos, right? And that helps me understand I don't have to be afraid or observe those things anymore in a negative light. And right there, I'm dissolving issues, right? I'm dissolving those negative beliefs. I'm letting go of them. And I'm just going back to the positive beliefs, right? The feeling of what I want. So if it's that person as an example, then it would be my job to understand, yes, they don't tell me who I am, right? It's not, it's like, Seth doesn't have a book called The Nature of Their Personal Reality That Controls You. No, it's called The Nature of Your Personal Reality, right? And that's the key. That's the key. It's your personal reality. It's your, I don't know how to call, there's so many ways I can explain it that are just in my head, but I just want you to really look at it like it's your bubble. And no one can penetrate that bubble. You are the safest in that bubble. You live in a safe universe, I promise you. It's just you have so much power that you can believe it's not safe. And you have so much power you can believe your SP doesn't love you. And you have so much power that you can believe that you can't manifest them, or you can't manifest the money, or that your circumstances are too hard, or your lack of a degree doesn't mean that you can ever make money. I'm telling you, it's your personal reality. It's not my personal reality. It's not your neighbors. It's not your SPs. And for that person, and this example, that person, if they told me that, I understand. At the end of the day, it's up to me to decide who do I want to be? Am I going to be the Michael who understands they're just reflecting the old me, and I understand what I do now and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and so on makes it natural. And once it's natural, then I get to experience the loving her, where she gets to sit there and kind of be sweet and, hope. Sorry, not hope. It's like she's kind of like looking forward to the future with me and being loving and caring and, like I said, charismatic and, planning things, cooking for you, the best version of them, right? When you do that, that's what you get. And if you have enough faith where you can literally just hold on, you just hold on to, you get through the fire. If you could just walk through the fire and you truly trust that your imagination is the only reality, I promise you guys, you will not be let down. I have never in my life ever manifested something that I didn't go 100% and change my beliefs with, right? And what I'm saying by that is, like, I've had things where I wanted to manifest, but I wasn't in the right place to change the beliefs. And therefore I was trying to rush things and not process things properly. And therefore those things didn't reflect, right? But then when you get through those and you process what you need to, and I was able to then always change myself because of that, I always got the result, right? And even right now, I'm manifesting something that's considered scary to me, right? I take a page from Bob Proctor where he says, if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough because you have so much power. Like, don't limit yourself. So for me, and I'm going to make videos touching on what I just said anyways. But yeah, I'm manifesting something like scary and big for myself as well. And it's like, I love challenging myself. I love challenging myself because I understand that it's me versus me. The game on now. It's like, okay, show me 3D, show me all the bad I've done, show me all the dwelling I've done. And it's up to me to understand I'm in a play that I created, and whatever comes my way, I reaped it because I showed it, right? I planted those seeds. And I understand, hey, now the thing that's scary to me, I have to now plant the right seeds. I have to now focus where my mind goes. I have to now make sure I don't fall asleep in negative states. Anything that chips away from my success, I cut it out like cancer, period. And usually, when I do that, the results come very fast, right? But like I said, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for some people, right? Sometimes the beliefs are a little bit, you're more attached to them. So that's what I want you guys to kind of take away from this video overall, is just that you're in full control of your reality, period. It's not me, it's not you, it's not your SP, it's not whatever it is. And your belief doesn't, define who you are. It's just who you're choosing to identify with, but it doesn't mean who you are as at the core, right? You're more special than you think. So when you start focusing on your end result and you understand that, okay, I control everything. There's unlimited parallel realities. There's unlimited possibilities. And I get to select which of the unlimited I want to start kind of reacting to and embodying. And the more I choose the right ones that are in alignment with what I want, the more natural those beliefs become a part of me. And once they do that, then the 3D will reflect it. So with that being said, that's all that I have to do. And when someone says scary stuff like the example I use where that person like just went hard, it's up to me to look at like a game, right? And that's why I love, applying the law, and I study it every day because it's such a special and unique thing to learn about, and you can apply it in so many different ways. So that's what I want you guys to just remember. It's your full control, no matter what's scaring you, no matter what's bothering you today. I want you to really know that everything you do is in your control moving forward. That means you can choose what states you embody. You can choose what to believe in, right? You can choose what perspective you look at, through your eyes. When you understand the framework of how reality creation works, and you understand infinite possible realities, and you understand that everything's existing now all at once, and you understand that you can only perceive with your senses what your beliefs would allow you to see. So your beliefs are like a filter, and the beliefs block out everything else that isn't in alignment with them. So when you understand that and you realize, okay, if I'm not experiencing something I want, right, then that means I don't have the beliefs to experience anything else. So how do I get the other thing else? Okay, I start returning to the beliefs that I would have if I had those things. So how would it feel? And there you go, right? You start returning to states. And your job is to just find different ways to do that, okay? So I think that's kind of good enough for now. We're about to reach 30 minutes, and I think that's a healthy amount. And I don't think I have much else to say. I just really wanted to get across that you guys are in full control, period. There's nothing else for you guys to do. Creation is finished. It is done. You guys have the easiest job in the world. We have to just start feeling the relief that we would feel, or whatever. In other words, return to the state. Be aware of having the solutions. The problem is this game is so real, and we made it so hard, so challenging. That's why so many souls are afraid to come here to Earth, because it seems so scary. It's scary, but I'm telling you guys, I've never, ever, ever got 100% and truly changed my beliefs and never got the result. But I have not done the work and not got the results. So what does that tell me? It tells me I've never had the law fail me. So that's why I know the thing that scares me the most is not going to fail me. And even in my head right now, as I say this, I can think of some negatives where it's like, damn, it's pretty scary. Like, how is this going to happen? But listen, I know that God, source, higher self, they have the intelligence that I don't, right? My conscious mind can't, I'm not tapping into that. But what I can do is I can control what I do with my mind. So I'm going to trust my higher self. And I know that it has my back. And I know that it has the knowledge of God, because it's God. I'm God. My awareness, what I'm looking through as God. So I'm going to trust that can tap into that, and it's going to figure it out. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know and if it might be soon or not, right? But all I can do is understand it's up to me. And if it doesn't happen, it's just I haven't changed my beliefs soon enough, and that's okay. So that's the thing I like about life. I'm responsible for my own progress too. It doesn't mean if I don't get results in 3 days that I did something wrong. No. I just evaluate, have I been doing well? And if the answer is yes, I just keep doing what I'm doing. If the answer is no, then I know why I don't have results. It's that simple, okay, guys? So I'm going to make some more videos that are inspired kind of like this, and I'm going to throw them in between the week possibly, and I'll probably keep them shorter, so that way I don't have to edit them as long, and then therefore it's a lot easier just bang them out, because I feel like even like 15-minute, 12-minute, 10-minute reminders would be good for you guys. So with that being said, I love you all very much. Thank you for watching this. If you're still here, hit that like button and feel free to leave any questions down below, and I will answer them as much as I can for you guys. And that way I can help you guys out a bit more. So thank you very much and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, night, or morning. Take care, guys.